welcome to Command HQ. I am Brock. It is Tuesday, July 5th, 2022. I'm here with Agent X as always. Bunch of
What's up,
news.
man? What's up, man? The timeline has shifted. There's no doubt about it.
Why do you think the timeline has shifted?
I mean, look at these weirdos on CNN, man. Ah, ah, so much, so much. This is so frustrating. Um, just a lot in the news, a lot of weird stories. Um, we've got the story out that most of the oil released from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve went to China. We got this weirdo shooting with CNN on green screens now. Uh, we we have Peter Strzok as a FBI expert for CNN. Definitely, the timeline has shifted. We have NBC debuting a show where people are quote dancing with themselves in quote cubes. So we have subliminal messaging and predictive programming going on. The timeline has shifted and shifted hard.
I don't even know where to start. I mean, you were showing me some of this material from NBC, this Dancing with Myself show, and obviously that's the last thing I want to comment on is shows on NBC or anything. But in terms of just like symbolism and predictive programming, it is very, very scary, and it is like really disgusting to watch. We'll get into that later, but there's also the green screen stuff with these with this Cremo character who is active in Chicago, and I've looked at some of his YouTube videos. I watched a lot of it. Well, I watched most of it, and I got to tell you, man, maybe some of his rap songs should have been called like glowing or something, because it just seems very suspicious. All of it. Was it a glow up potentially?
He had a. They say that he was right wing, right? That he was a Donald Trump supporter, but he had face tattoos. He was schizophrenic. He was a failed rapper. He dressed up like a woman all the time. They had him in multicolored hair. It sounds like a fucking woke ass social libtard to me. But he also had all these codes on his website. And I don't think anybody's taken the time to crack them.
Oh, did you?
But
Were those numbers that you sent me? You sent me a bunch of numbers, and I'd asked you what they were.
I think I sent you, yeah, I think I sent you a screenshot or something. But he had all these, he had like a code. It was all numbers, right? And then in another message, he said, that there were certain numbers that were prime or prime derivative that could be used to crack it. And when I went to bed last night, I think 4chan was trying to crack it, but I don't think it doesn't look like they made any headway. But it definitely smells like a glow up. And then
Yeah.
you have her. They have the video. I sent you the link to the mom acting all crazy, and for some reason they blurred her tits out.
Should we play that clip?
Yeah.
All right. This is directly from CNN. And
No, the local the local news clip.
Where was it? Let's pull it up again. So many of these ads. Can't click through this one.
Dude, you gotta get YouTube.
I know, I'm considering
premium,
it. Man. Oh, this is the gosh dang it.
$10, man.
Was it the last one you sent me? Sent first link, okay.
No, it's not the first link. It's the
oh geez. Second link.
The second link.
So much material here.
Nah, we've got her, she's coming up next.
We have no staff to help us sort through these clips, so
We have
this
no
is
producer, man. We have
yeah, we are our own
Maga Queen.
producers.
Yeah, no, Maga Queen was our producer, but her Obama phone conked out.
Okay. It's in
Gotta play. There's no audio.
here, right there,
No
right
audio.
there.
No audio.
I know, right here.
Listed to her
I mean,
that
look this. Hold on.
mailbox
This guy looks
under
like
a
he's in
police
front of a
seal.
green screen, right?
Oh yeah,
And
that's
now
another
they
piece of this.
now they now they got this guy in front of a green screen, just like CNN does, right? We'll show that in a moment. But they got this guy's mom having a confrontation with police, and you tell me if there's anything odd about this video.
Yeah. Let's see.
Seal.
Okay, so that looked like a green screen, and then
The
here
suspect's
we
mother is
have
seen here in a confrontation with police on the 1500
Cremo's
block of McDaniels
mother
Avenue in Highland Park. The
with her
video shows
chest.
SWAT teams standing on that street.
I don't like
Yeah,
playing that
what?
audio. Okay, so her chest is blurred out here.
Yeah, they blurred out her tits. Why? She's got a shirt on. I mean, why are they being so weird about this?
Yeah, and okay, so I'll turn the audio back on. They're
Shooting
talking
scene.
about
Is that mailbox the subject of a police
showing these
investigation?
numbers,
The CBS 2
and
investigators
then they
found
completely
the
seize the
entire
UPS store.
has been locked and closed by police order. No one can enter or access their mailboxes. It's the only
Bizarre,
store
right?
with such a sign
Totally.
in this small strip mall.
They tracked her
The
down from
mailbox
a
we found
UPS
coming
store.
back to his
Come
mother
on.
is partially blocked by a cardboard box.
Yeah, and why a cardboard box? Why wouldn't they just put a sheet up on the window?
No word yet on why police have ordered this UPS store closed.
Very weird. I mean,
Super
why would they shut the whole store down?
I don't know, man. I mean, I guess to prevent if there's any evidence in there, let them go in there, see if there's anything.
Tampering, yeah, preventing it.
I mean, this whole story is weird. And it's weird too. I tell you what else is weird is like 4chan was deep on this last night. Very,
Yeah.
very deep on it. And now you're seeing very few threads about it, which means the Jannies on the janitors, that's what they call them, Jannies, on 4chan are fucking cleaning up this glow op to make sure nobody exposes it.
True. Let's play this other CNN clip.
I mean, this CNN clip is double. It's like it's not just about the Highland stuff. It's about the fact that CNN is using Peter Strzok as a fucking FBI expert, and Peter Strzok should be in an orange jumpsuit somewhere.
He should be. So before we get to that, though, there's another kind of like weird lighting situation here. It almost seems like it could be a green screen. I mean,
Yep. I mean that's like
I want to err on the
definitely
safe
looks like-
side and just say that they're probably, near the scene of wherever this happened in Lake County, Highland Park, Illinois. I've driven through there countless times, honestly. And, it's a really nice area near Chicago. It's one of the wealthier suburbs. And I feel like I've, driven through this intersection multiple times. And you would never expect anything like this to ever occur in an area like that. But this lighting is very weird. I mean, it's almost like there's no separation between the green screen in the background and this reporter who's actually talking about, being there and so forth. I mean, yeah, obviously, most likely he's there, but it just seems weird. Like it could be potentially a green screen. And I'm just asking questions right here.
It looks worse when you go to the original CNN, that the morning dude, when the video starts, it looks faker there.
You mean they cleaned it up like in the post edit?
Well, I mean, if you go to
Post-production?
the beginning of the video, yeah, go to the beginning of the video.
Yeah, they
That
cleaned it up in
looks like
post production.
yeah.
Totally looks like they put like a JPEG image in the background and it's a green screen.
Yep.
Again, I'm not saying that he wasn't there. I'm just saying that it looks like that. Okay. So let's talk about your boy Peter Strzok now. So Peter Strzok, obviously a corrupt FBI agent who tried to rig the election, trying to get Trump arrested before there were any
In 2
allegations
separate
whatsoever.
investigations.
Yeah, he's at the end here. Okay, so they bring him on. Okay, so it is strange that they're bringing Peter Strzok on to talk about something like this, right? Like, are they just paying him off? Is this a kickback scheme?
Yeah, this is what they did with McCabe, man. McCabe was sitting there facing an indictment, and they brought him on as a fucking FBI expert, and now they're doing the same thing. This asshole is no FBI expert. He got fucking fired.
Not only did he get fired, but I think his retirement was withheld, and he was investigated. He should be indicted. I mean, he should be right now being sentenced for various crimes that he committed, and yet he's sitting in his office, half library, talking about this case. And the pictures of him before, he looked halfway fit. Now he looks just like a fat, bloated, former corrupt FBI agent like he is. Now, he is from Minneapolis, so there you go. I mean, you just know he's corrupt just because he's in law enforcement in Minneapolis. They're all corrupt. I'm sure there's some good ones here and there, but you know what I mean? I mean, he's just like, and he's wearing a suit. Why would you wear a suit to do some sort of like interview with CNN from your own office? I mean, whatever. Anyways, so he gets in, he talks. Let's turn the audio on.
That yes, we can see in retrospect that there are these signs, but it's very difficult if there's this question of how do you monitor things in real time to get ahead of it. That's a very, very difficult question.
Yeah.
Monitor it in real time to get ahead of it. Did you hear what he said? Monitor social media in real time to get ahead of it. There was a little clip before this where he was talking about social media. Why are they putting such emphasis on social media? Is this part of their predictive programming plan?
Wait, what now? Sorry, I stepped away for a second.
Oh, so Peter Strzok just said, like monitoring social media in real time to get ahead of it.
Right. Well, no, they want people to be. You're right. It's kind of a predictive programming, but they want to scare people with these events, even when they do actually happen. Right. When there's real shootings, they want people to be outraged, and they want people to be for the surveillance state, monitoring social media 24/7.
Yeah.
Something that is alarming and something that is truly threatening. It may be impossible in some cases. Peter, thank you so much.
Okay.
We always appreciate it.
So that was kind of
I mean, terrible. This is a guy. Go to that last link that I sent you in the chat. This motherfucker. I mean, literally, this motherfucker was lying to Congress, lied to the FBI, tried to rig a fucking election, got into it with Trey Gowdy, and Trey Gowdy fucking laid the hammer down on him.
I'm Jeff Glor. We're going to begin tonight with FBI agent Peter Strzok, under oath and under fire on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, under oath and under fire.
Strzok is the agent who sent a stream of anti-Trump text messages to an FBI colleague during the 2016 campaign. The testimony continues tonight. At a chaotic hearing that is still going on, Republicans got their first chance to question him in public and raise doubts about the fairness of the Russia and Clinton email investigations. Democrats insisted it was little more than a distraction. There was yelling, there were accusations, and rarely a moment of order. Here's Paula Reed.
Yeah.
I will not answer that question.
A witness will answer the question.
Embattled FBI agent Peter Strzok.
Yeah, but he'll go on
with
CNN and he'll answer Breonna
public
Keeler's
hearing,
questions.
which descended into chaos after his first answer.
I mean, we've jumped the shark on this
Mr.
timeline.
Chairman, please.
Mr. Chairman, this is intolerable harassment of the witness.
Harassment of the witness.
Strzok expressed remorse for how the thousands of text messages he exchanged with former colleague Lisa Page have been used to question the integrity of
Former
the
colleague,
FBI
the woman he was
investigation
fucking.
into Russian interference in the 2016 election.
I testify today with significant regret, recognizing that my texts have created confusion and caused pain for people I love.
Strzok sought
Cause
to explain
confusion.
one
You're
of his
trying to
most
rig an election.
controversial texts
Yeah,
when he
exactly.
assured
Tried to
Page
make it
that,
all
quote,
about himself.
"We'll stop Trump."
It was in response to a series of events that included
No.
then candidate Trump.
no consideration whatsoever for, the American people, Republicans, Democrats even. Just, the only care that he had was having this affair with Lisa Page and covering it up.
Yeah, that's it.
Assaulting the immigrant family of a fallen war.
And then he brings into a hearing discussions about immigrants, somehow trying to deflect.
War hero. And my presumption, based on that horrible, disgusting behavior, that the American population would not elect somebody demonstrating.
Oh, okay. So he is deciding who can run for president, right? Because Donald Trump apparently had said something that he considered to be a denigration of an immigrant.
That behavior to be president of the United States.
Oh my
South
God.
Carolina Republican Trey Gowdy grilled him on how those messages resulted in his removal from the special counsel probe.
It is not my understanding that he kicked me off because of any bias, that it was done based on the appearance. If you want to represent what you said
Not
accurately,
because
I'm
of
happy to answer
the
that
appearance
question,
of
but I don't
bias.
appreciate what
What's
was
the
originally
difference?
said being changed.
I don't give a damn what you appreciate, Agent Strzok. I don't appreciate having an FBI agent with an unprecedented level of animus working on 2 major investigations during 2016.
The hearing got personal when Strzok was asked about his extramarital affair with Page.
I can't help but wonder when I see you looking there with a little smirk.
So Gohmert is a former state court judge in Texas.
How many times did you look so innocent into your wife's eye and lie to her about Lisa?
Mr. Chairman, this is outrageous.
Outrageous. I think that's completely relevant.
If there was a winner in this political slugfest, Strzok said he was not in the room.
But I strongly believe today's hearing is just another victory notch in Putin's belt.
Wait. Now they bring in Putin, huh? Wow.
I mean,
so they had this whole fucking plan. They had this whole fucking plan squared away, from the moment they tried to rig this election with Trump. I mean, they were already trying to get Putin involved in some sort of conflict.
And another milestone in our enemy's campaign to tear America apart.
Wow. Globalists, huh?
I mean, listen, man. This guy got in front of. Okay, let's. We know that the timeline is shifted, right? So this asshole tried to rig 2 elections, was sleeping around on his wife with a snaggletooth, ugly ass bitch, just totally ugly. He was fired from the FBI for misconduct. He tries to say it's the appearance of a conflict, but no, he was fired. His pension was withheld. And then he goes before Congress and he fucking mouths off to Congress, won't answer questions, tries to blame the whole fucking thing on Putin, right? Takes no responsibility, fucking deflects. like Putin was the one sending the text messages that he was gonna make sure that Donald Trump wasn't elected. And then, this asshole is not disbarred. He's not fucking socially ostracized. No, go back to that other video. We got that fat ass bitch, Breonna Keeler, calling him a fucking expert on a fucking tragic mass shooting. I mean, this is fucking ridiculous. I'd like to see. Yeah. Leave it on her. No.
Your family's health and safety begins at home.
I mean, to bring him in as an FBI expert is a fucking joke. I mean, look at this. Like, he fucking knows. He tried to rig an election. He doesn't know anything about fucking, surveillance on suspicious persons. You can't hear it. There's no audio. He doesn't know shit. He tried to rig elections. That was his job at the FBI. It wasn't investigating,
anonymous,
domestic
and in many ways
terrorists.
non-specific. So it's
He doesn't
very
know
difficult
shit.
in many of these cases that, yes, we can see in retrospect that there are these
Why is
signs,
this
but it's
man
very
on there being
difficult.
paid by? This is
There's
why
this
you
question
can't
of how
trust
do you
CNN.
monitor things in real time to get ahead of it. That's a very, very difficult question.
You know what it is?
How do you
People.
tell the difference
Here's
between
what
something
happens:
that is
they bring this
alarming and
asshole
something that
on,
is true?
and it's like a kickback, right, for his opposing Trump. It's like a payday kickback, and what they do is, they hope that you remember this guy's face, right? Because he was on television, he was in Congress, but they hope you don't remember what he fucking did. And that's the game that they play. And they're paying this asshole thousands of dollars to appear on this, 5-minute segment in which he has no expertise, no fucking knowledge, doesn't know shit from Shinola, and looks like a total fucking dildo.
Total kickback scheme, clamshell to hide, the misconduct one way or another. And even before this, CNN had produced a bunch of content where they were criticizing Republicans for, and really the guy who's in charge of the grievance committee for the federal system, Horowitz, for investigating
IG,
him, for misconduct, for ethical violations. And they were like, oh, the Republicans are withholding his retirement benefits and all this stuff. And it was like, he's the one who did this. And then
he blamed it on Putin.
They had the plan squared away from day one about Putin and, creating this conflict in Ukraine. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And they were trying very, very hard because Trump was probably, a stick in the spokes of this whole plan, preventing it from actually taking place. And that's probably why they tried to rig the election.
No, I agree, man. It just defies common sense to have this man on as an expert, and it just shows you that the timeline is shifting. That nothing you see on TV
doesn't make sense.
Believed. Nothing you see on TV should be believed. It's all fucking fake
propaganda.
Propaganda, exactly. Let's go to that NBC. Let's go to the NBC thing, because that is one of the scariest fucking things I've ever seen.
Speaking of,
so what have we been talking about here? That the plan, right, is that the plan is, just pause it for a second. The plan is to develop quantum computers, right? They don't have the computing power right now to put us in pods, but they want quantum computers to put us in pods so they can siphon our brain power, so they can put us in the metaverse, so they can control our behavior, so that they can siphon off our consciousness. And meanwhile, you have globalists like Bill Gates buying up, hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland. You have them killing cows. You have the burning of food production factories, and it's all part of this global reset that they eventually want us to own nothing and be happy and put us in the fucking pod, and we will interact with everybody in the fucking metaverse. Now, it's going to take, are we going to willingly go into the pod? No. But, NBC debuts a show like this called Dancing with Myself, in which the contestants dance by themselves in pods. Go ahead and play it.
Check it out.
This is scary. I mean, look at this.
Hi, everyone. America's sweetheart, Nick Jonas here.
Fast forward through this.
I'm a pretty advanced dancer, which is why sometimes I like to impart my wisdom.
Right there.
Music, and I feel like that's influenced my personality as a whole.
They have these people dancing in pods on a game show, and they call them pods.
It's really, mind-boggling. I'm pretty sure my
it's right there. Yeah. Right there.
Hi, it's Catherine.
Look at that. So this is what they want us to this is the eventuality, right? We'll interact with everybody in our pod, and we'll have a headset on. We'll be in a room that allows sensations, the touch and feeling. And right here, you're seeing it. They're debuting it to you, right? This is the future. We'll be in pods.
You just showed me this. You just watched this. This is totally wild. This is upsetting for one reason, and that is that they're actually supporting these people dancing by themselves, trying to mimic whatever dance moves are shown to them. So it's creating like this, I hate to say it, but like a servant mentality that you're supposed to copy and duplicate whatever information you're given. And you have this limited space here.
we're not bringing these people out one by one to have a dance competition or putting them on stage together. We're putting them in pods, right? And you interact. You're watching something on the screen. You're mimicking it, and this is exactly what they want. They want us in pods in the metaverse, interacting with everyone, not physically, but through virtual technology. And this is the first step. This is the primer right here. And they have Shakira on there as a judge and Nick Jonas. But this is the primer, right? This is what's getting people ready to the idea. Okay, yeah, it's okay to be in the pod. It's okay to exercise in the pod. It's okay to interact with other people in the pod. And this is what your pod's going to look like right there. It's going to be a cell.
So, the other point I want to make is that women love these dance shows. And I know women who kind of really get into these shows, and it's almost like if they're going to get into these shows, they're going to be doing it at some point, even though ordinarily they wouldn't, in part because of the social and the peer pressure. And that's what they're doing here is they're trying to support these kinds of lifestyle choices, to obey whatever order is given to you within your small pod here, and then rewarding you with attention, rewarding you with cryptocurrency, whatever it is here. In this case, obviously money, but it's and then they have kids in this, which is also disgusting.
I think they had a 14-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl. I mean, talk about like fucking perverted.
Do you remember the show with when we were kids, like Ed McMahon, like
Star Search?
Star Search, yeah. So someone would come out and perform an act. I mean, there's all kinds of talent shows like that, but this is distinctly different from a traditional talent show.
Yeah. I mean, look at this. They have this old woman on there. They got somebody with Down syndrome. I mean, it's to teach you that all your interactions are going to be in the pod through the metaverse. And I think it's interesting, right? This global reset that they keep talking about. They debut this show now, right? It's the primer, man. It's the way to get us ready. It's the way to get the masses ready. Oh, it's cool, man. Everybody, let's dance with yourself in your little pod.
True. Let's move on to a different story, because actually thinking and seeing this is actually making me a little upset. So what are the other stories we had on tap? So we had a couple CERN stories. We had the oil situation with Biden. We had the Cremo crazy shit.
The oil situation with Biden is interesting. So the dude's selling out, man. He sold us out what was released from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Most of it went to China. You see the BRICS countries are like actively fighting back now, trying to create their own SWIFT payment system. I don't know, man. And I sent you that other article that what was it? China and Russia are beginning military training exercises in Latin America. Here, let me put it in there.
Right here. I have it.
Yep. Iran, Russia, and China and 10 other nations are reported to be holding military exercises in Latin America in August. And you know why? It's because every Chinese invasion plan has forces coming up through Mexico.
That's a good
and
point.
taking, California, New Mexico, Nevada. So they will attack by sea on the coast, but they'll bring foot troops up through Mexico.
Iran, Russia, and China. How are they getting these Latin American countries to give them consent to do their operations or activities down there?
Well, I'm sure they're doing it in BRICS countries, so they're probably doing it in Brazil.
Oh, right. Yeah, Brazil.
Doesn't say specifically. They haven't said specifically where they're doing it, but I'm sure it's going to be in, BRICS friendly countries. So, or a BRIC country. Um, I mean, this is scary stuff, man, and none of it's reported by the media. We're worried about Bobby Chimpo, and blurring his mother's tits on television and displaying weird numbers at her UPS store. I mean, that's what
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
worried
yeah,
about.
yeah. Did you
It's
see
all a
this
distraction.
total distraction? Did you see this meme? You sent me this. Uh, this is a 4chan. I wish we could make this a little bit
You have to
larger.
blow it up. Yeah, you have to zoom in.
How do we do this? Okay. Plus, 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 plus. Okay, that's a little better.
So you talked about these GAN adversarial networks, right? That
Generative
basically,
adversarial networks. It's applying game theory to machine learning. Yeah. You
yeah.
have
So it
two
basically
neural
can able to
networks
generate.
competing against each other to predict the best outcome.
Right, and so they use it to generate images of people. But you see these. So on the left is this girl who apparently went missing, right? And um, the father apparently was an asset somewhere in the government and stole some CERN related, research from the United States government and defected. So what was getting passed around online was that he abducted his daughter and fled with her. So that's how they were getting law enforcement to try to track him down. And this is the image they generated of her. Like, look, she clearly had. This is clearly a mannequin with a human, a fake human generated head on it. Like, look at the hand, so unnatural. That this is you can find mannequins that have this exact pose, but you can also see, like the lights reflecting weirdly on the grass, and you're getting the ray tracing is showing white blades of grass because it's reflecting off the dog. It's very weird. But
Yeah,
the
it's
the
too
second,
bright. The lighting is all weird, and then you have the dog's eyes looking
yeah,
up like
and
that.
so what was weird was so they eventually found. So they claim they found this girl, right? Due to a routine traffic stop. Like apparently she committed no violations. They just randomly stopped her, and they said, "Oh yeah, she's been found. She's staying with family." And the story got memory hold. But the fact that they generated like a ton of images, which were people believed were fake, and they were generated with this GAN machine learning technology. But this is one of the worst because this is clearly a mannequin body. You can find mannequins with this exact pose of the arms and the hands. And then the second image is the guy who went up and shot up the grocery store. And not to say he didn't do it, right? I mean, there's clearly video that he did it. But why do we have weird images like this where there's a mailbox on a light post, right? And I mean, why would you have a light on top of a mailbox? Like I've never seen that before. And scroll
Usually you
down,
see a
your head's in the
sign.
way.
I don't know. That could be a sign. I've seen signs above mailboxes. I don't think that part of this image is too concerning. I would say that having this path with a bunch of plants in the middle of
Your
it
head's
seems
in
a
the
little
way.
weird.
Your head's in the way.
Let me
Now your head's
fix
way in the
that.
way. It's way in the way.
Okay, so
All right, so you have these shrubs that just go through the middle of the path, like on a sidewalk path, and that indicates that there's an error in the generation of the image. And then you have his fingers bending weirdly. I don't know, man. I mean, I think that they generate some of these images and put them out there just to, I don't know. I mean, just to see what they can get away with. It's like a test bed, right? All right, you can put your head back in.
that's a good point. I mean, it could be, but also with respect to this other story, and I'm not too familiar with it, it seems like these fake images could be produced as a way to disrupt a law enforcement response to further decay society. Like if they can create all these fake incidents and then get law enforcement to respond, particularly to a young woman, which obviously gets law enforcement's response right away as opposed to anyone else,
Right.
Then they can divert.
They put on, they hit the guy with, it was a bitter custody dispute, and he fled with the daughter, and he's holding her hostage. Yeah, I mean that's how they don't want it out there that he stole government secrets or defected
Yeah.
with them. Instead, they hit him with a bogus story like that and come up with a fake daughter.
Okay.
Dude, hold on. I got an image here for you. You just gotta. This is. Here you go.
Pull it up. By the way, if you're listening, please subscribe and like the video. Oh my God. So obviously, again, here someone photoshopped this. Probably a Photoshop.
Probably
Yeah,
a Photoshop. You're right.
Did you see a couple of those images where he was wearing that FBI hat?
Yeah, man.
It's fucking crazy.
And like I said, the fact that 4chan is absolutely sweeping any thread about this guy is
not just
is
4chan.
suspicious.
YouTube terminated his account like right away.
Yep.
You even tried to make like API calls to get raw data to download those images, and they had the API response right away that the account was terminated, and it was like what was it, like some 400 or 500 level code. Anyways, very, very weird. I hate to say it, but it's just definitely a glow up.
I don't know if it's a glow up or not, man. It's just the FBI. I mean, it's a proven fact that, and it's happened time and time again, that the FBI has preyed on
I should
young.
rephrase that. I meant that it obviously happened, but in terms of the glow up stuff, like there was more to the story than just this guy going out and doing this. Like who was involved in pressuring him? Who is he talking to? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, they've shown time and time again, right? There's been reporting about this, that the FBI goes in and grooms these young, lonely men to commit these
incels,
heinous acts.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's one thing to have a genuine grievance with the way things are going, but it's a completely different thing to actually engage in any criminal conduct. Obviously, this is evil, and it breaks everyone's heart to see this happen. And that's what we're all fighting against, is this sort of evil behavior and conduct. And that's what motivates me to expose all this stuff. So timeline has shifted. You sent me a bunch of these links, so I didn't necessarily know what to do with these.
Oh no. They're no. I just sent them to you. They're something different, man. It's like they're links comparing, Chinese cities to the United States cities. So they're not. We can talk about them another time, but I think we should talk about CERN and the fact, why does CERN have a massive data center?
Oh yeah. Okay, so today, we found out that CERN has this data center where it's actually storing, and it's like a huge supercomputer. By the way, they have tons of storage racks.
Before you get into that, they turned on the Large Hadron Collider for the first time in 5 years this morning. So, there's a belief. Scientists, they use this particle collider to smash atoms, right? And they claim they found the God particle, and that it's been contributing to particle science, the experiments they're performing. But you ask a real particle physicist, and they're like, it's kind of been a letdown, right? But a lot of people believe that what they're doing there is dangerous. I think pretty much every physicist has admitted that there's a chance that they could create a black hole, right, and swallow the Earth. And the chance of that is substantially non-zero. And these people really don't know what they're doing when they're smashing these atoms. Um, there's another, line of thought that what they're doing is so in physics, the predominant theory is that there are many worlds, that there are parallel dimensions, and that when you observe when a wave function collapses, when you actually observe an atom and it collapses to a state, that it's creating branch universes. And so a lot of people believe that what they're doing at CERN is they're trying to access these parallel universes. And if you go deeper into the theory, is that they believe that the elites are trying to access the parallel universes so they can see what went wrong in other parallel universes and try to, stop it or adjust the timeline here. There's also a theory that they're trying to create Einstein-Rosen bridges, which are wormholes, to send messages back into the past to change the timeline. So there's a lot of fuckery going on. And then you have, these videos where they open things up at CERN and they're worshiping Shiva and performing these satanic rituals.
Should we
And
pull up
and it
the
all just
Gothard Tunnel?
yeah, let's pull that up. It gets very weird. And so today, after 5 years, they turn this thing back on. They increase the power of it. This thing is using gigawatts of power, enough to power hundreds of thousands of homes for years. And we're worried about smashing atoms.
I don't want to hear it.
But you're seeing every time they have like one of these openings or whatever, they're performing these satanic rituals and dancing around. Skip forward. And you see this like satanic imagery and this very weird stuff. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah, a lot of people have
goats,
put
eyes, third eyes everywhere. Look, a goat
yeah,
giving birth. It's so weird.
yeah. There's an evil agenda behind this. Very clear.
Go to the other video of where they're performing the mock sacrifice. So these employees and these elites, they also get out there and they perform these mock sacrifices, just like they do at Bohemian Grove, what Alex Jones has exposed. And they're doing this in front of you have a woman laying down, and they're dressed as druids, and they're performing a mock sacrifice in front of Shiva. I mean, just weird stuff. I mean, these are adults. These are people working at CERN. Predator class type people. And so there's a lot of weird shit going on at CERN. So they turned on the Large Hadron Collider again today. They souped up the power on it, made a bunch of modifications, and now we find out through their live stream that they have a massive data center collecting data. And it goes back to what we're theorizing, is that they're using CERN to try to access alternate timelines to send data in the past. But, even apart from that, if you believe that's good, I mean, listen, over 75% of particle physicists believe in the many worlds theory. And so they're definitely using CERN to try to access these parallel timelines. But even putting that aside, if you think that's unbelievable, this fits right into our theory, right? That they're trying to use CERN and quantum computing and this 5G technology, the Internet of People, to create a metaverse and to collect data on us and other things. And you see it right here in this supermassive data center.
The data center is very concerning, considering the fact that they are collecting fundamental information about reality that can be potentially used in very dangerous ways, like it was brought up yesterday, encoding our genetic information, our DNA, into the particles that they're sending to collide in the particle accelerator. And with respect to the data center, I mean, this is kind of the conduit with which they're actually doing that. And that's why it's a cause of concern. And the fact that they're just marketing the data center as a way to store all of this particle physics data. You know, we don't know what they're storing, and this is essentially a public group. Why isn't this more public? Why don't people know more about the information that is stored in those server racks, and what kind of machines they're using? Are they using quantum computers? Are they using a couple supercomputers in there? So, you know, and there's machine learning powering a lot of this ingestion and consumption of power at this particular data center. So very concerning.
Yeah, no, it's so I think I think that they're obviously performing these experiments, right? And they're collecting the data on that, but they're also, collecting these experiments and storing data on, what they believe are alternate timelines or Einstein-Rosen bridges, the information they're getting back. They're definitely collecting data on us. Um, it's all strange. It's all really strange. And we just let this happen. I mean, there's no oversight of this place. It basically functions independently. Um, and there's no scrutiny, and it's really scary. I mean, this is the first time I've actually seen, the players involved at CERN on this live stream. You can't find pictures of the director running the place. I mean, she was on the live stream, and it's the first time you see the people actually involved with it, and they're celebrating, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if we see images of them, performing some satanic rituals and stuff, from today, when they turned it on.
Hey, let me tell you this, Agent X. So Niels Tuning is a physicist who works at CERN, and he was listed as a representative for a couple of lab groups. And so he's obviously very excited that CERN has reactivated. He posted here on his own Twitter. But right when it started, he posted this fireworks display from San Diego where there was an accident. Why would he, promote an accident as a metaphor for the reactivation of CERN? And in this particular fireworks accident, all of the fireworks went up all at once, and it was a huge explosion. So what kind of signal is that sending to... There we go. No, that's a big bang. That's an accident.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a good sign. I guess we're just gonna have to just wait and see what happens. But yeah, I can't believe they turned this thing on. This thing is dangerous. It's beyond dangerous.
Well, what's even more dangerous about this is that no one really knows what's going on. I mean, probably even some of these high-level physicists, including Niels Tuning, doesn't have a whole picture of all the different lab groups and what kind of data is stored here. I mean, there should be a lot more information.
Things.
Yeah, compartmentalize. There should be a lot more information about, this data center, for example. And that's what I would focus on if I were trying to investigate and report, on what kind of information is stored, what they're doing. And some of this information must be public, because if you really think about it, there really isn't any personal information probably in these servers yet, unless, of course, there is, right? And then they could use that as a defense to prevent people from spying on whatever information is stored in those servers. So that will tell you something if they're heavily defensive about exposing any of that information. And again, like the power issue here with CERN in general, I pulled up a study, and let's see if I can find it here. Okay, here it is. This is a study out of Switzerland where they're talking about a high prevalence of iron deficiency among educated hospital employees in Switzerland. Now, yeah, educated hospital employees aren't employees of CERN, but this will tell you that if you just look at, for example, iron deficiency levels in CERN during the time periods in which CERN is active, you kind of have an idea of how much power is being consumed and what that's actually doing to the individuals living in that area. It's a good way to assess the situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the other thing, I don't know. Did you hear about this, Agent X? So today CERN said that they have found new exotic quark configurations.
Yeah, they turn it on and suddenly they're making discoveries. Bullshit.
It takes them years. It took them like 20
Yeah,
years or something
decade.
to come out with papers about the Higgs boson. And yet, in one day, they have new information about exotic configurations of quarks, pentaquarks. That doesn't seem
Dude,
realistic to me.
it doesn't seem realistic. And they had these images, right? They had images that look like this on their live stream. I mean, they
Should we
could
pull up the live
these.
stream?
I mean, we can look at it, but before they turned it on, they were playing um, videos that had they kind of look like that.
You notice
Here
how
you
this
go. There's
video
the data
starts with
rack.
the data center? Yeah, and then it goes directly to the actual accelerator.
Yep. There you go. The server rack, man.
And
MRI.
then
There's your pod right there.
why are they showing an MRI thing here? This is about a particle accelerator, not MRIs. Like what's going on here? This is
I
fucking
don't know. This is
crazy.
some weird imagery. Yeah.
Dude, this is fucking nuts. They're definitely telling us that they're getting ready to chip us with those neural links.
Yep.
I would highly recommend that no one accept any of those chips and that you fight that to the end. No one should want to go into the metaverse, particularly when it involves these embedded chips from Neuralink or anyone, unless you have a valid medical condition where,
Hold on. What was that thing? €1. What was it? €1 brings 1.8 euro. Oh, they said, I don't know.
Brings.
They said every euro spent brings 1.8 euros back to society. I mean, I don't know, man. It's so weird. They got the American flag flying out there, even though the Americans supposedly just have a supervisory role. Fast forward a little bit. Let's look at some of these Predator class minions. Go a little bit forward. Forward.
They're all wearing masks.
Right there, right there. Yeah. So the director is on the right there. I don't know, man. It would be interesting to go through and read the comments and see what people were saying in the live chat.
Aliens. Fortnite event. Funny.
Oh my goodness.
Protect yourselves.
I mean, yeah. So
we are alive, we won't die. People are really fearful.
Yeah, man. I mean, people should be fearful.
Does this kind of remind you, though, of like the astronauts when they first went to space and then they came back down? People were like, they put them in like contamination units for a week. People were scared to talk to them or be around them.
Well, they did that press conference, right? And they looked totally depressed, like something was going on. No, I mean this kind of reminds me of like a Hollywood production, right? Like everyone looks like a fucking Apple Store employee. Look at this. No one is dressed appropriately. No one's dressed like a scientist. They're all look like
in the blue shirt.
They work at the Genius Bar. Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, you're right. So okay, we have. You know, the weird thing is, it's like they're live streaming this. Yes, okay. So here's the data center. Crazy.
They had this woman
There's a lot of
broadcasting
disks,
from a
there's a
few
lot of
places.
tapes, and there is a lot of networking capacity needed to share the data with our partners.
I can see some.
We don't
With
know
their
even know who
partner.
those partners are, like Berkeley, Caltech, MIT.
It's the World Economic Foundation.
Yeah, exactly.
Experts with you. Maybe you want to introduce them.
Yes, please.
Tim Smith.
So now the data center is the face of CERN. You know, at
Hold on,
least
go
when
back.
they're
Go back just a couple seconds. Go back a couple seconds. Just like a couple. Yeah, when they're at the table. Now you went too far back.
Right here?
Yeah, right there. Look at the director, man. Look what kind of MacBook she has. She has an old ass MacBook. This is the fucking director.
Oh, right. Okay. So I don't know if you can see my cursor because it's kind of small.
It has
on this
like
live stream,
multiple
but
ports. Yeah. That's an old ass MacBook. That's a
I can't
fucking
tell.
prop, man.
Are these memories needed for a data so big to generate this
That's
kind of
a
experiments?
fucking
This is a
prop.
question for Enrica Porcari, the
I can't tell.
IT department leader, who hopefully is following us.
Well, you went too far back.
Can we have the data center for the answer to this
Oh, here we
question?
go.
Right there, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's even got the light on the back. That is a fucking prop, bro. This whole thing was fake.
That is one of the older MacBooks. You're right.
That MacBook is at least 8 years old. And this is the director of CERN having an 8-year-old MacBook. This thing is fake, man. That is a prop.
Why do they have like a robotic, like all these connections exposed here at this table? This is supposed to be a table. It's a prop for whatever they're trying to explain.
This is a
Yes,
Hollywood
thank you,
production,
Paula. Thanks
man.
for the question. So we currently have 10,000 disks for
It's a poorly done Hollywood production.
this, but as I
Oh,
said
yeah,
earlier,
it's intentionally
we don't only have disks.
done
Disks
poorly.
come with good
I mean, they have like engineers who
performance, but also
otherwise
high
kind of would look like me, you know, kind of like dorky, nerdy guys who are awkward
And so at the
being interviewed
at the
because
data
they have
center, we have to
very little experience dealing with situations like this. So they're just like, oh, yeah, this is great, fantastic, CERN, yada, yada, yada. They're not looking at what's actually going on here.
balance cost with performance needs. So as we said, a lot of our data is
Balance,
also
cost, and performance.
for long-term storage.
Long-term storage. Did you hear that?
We use tapes for that.
So they use tape backups. Now, why would CERN use tape backups? For someone who isn't really super familiar with storage techniques, tape backups are like one of the most ancient
They're so antiquated,
60 or
man.
70s era backup stores that you
They
can
were
possibly
using
have.
tape backups. They were doing away with tape backups in the fucking early 90s.
Exactly. You would have RAID arrays here with like solid state hard drives storing all this information. Instead, they're talking about tape backups. That's suspicious.
For that need. And as I said, also we send the data through the WLCG. So we
Okay, what did she say? WSCG or something?
Yeah.
They send the data through the WSCG. I don't know what that is, but I'll definitely dig on that. And then she's not talking about what data and how it's packaged. Is this just like a raw format of some sort? Stuff like that. I mean, 3D modeling data, who knows? Like, how are they sending it? How are they transmitting it? Do they have APIs set up to do this? You know, we don't know anything.
So we use different tools depending on what the need for accessing, as we heard from our colleagues from the.
And, you know, it's so high level and vague. She probably doesn't even know what's going on here. She's just given talking points.
From the experiments and from our partners worldwide. So we calibrate.
You see how uncomfortable this woman on the far right here is, this physicist? She's awkwardly holding her arms like she's incredibly nervous.
Our offerings depending on the needs. But as I said, we expect 1.5 exabyte of data in this.
1.5 terabytes of data. Is that what you said?
Yep.
This run. So
That's okay. So that's actually not that much data for one run. That seems also suspicious. You would think they would have like petabytes of data.
there is a lot of disk, there is a lot of tapes, and there is a lot of networking capacity needed to share the data with our partners.
I can see some experts with you. Maybe you want to introduce them?
Yes, please.
I'm telling you, between now and April.
Get through this ad, skip through it.
Tim Smith. Fabiola described a lot about the open science and open data. So I'm responsible for a lot of.
Tim Smith is responsible for the open data.
Those services.
Thank you, Tim.
Hello, I'm Maria Arzuaga, and I'm the service manager of EOS, our disk storage system for Atlas, EMS, LICV.
Okay, so they have a disk storage system for Atlas and ML. I'm assuming ML is machine learning.
And we are very excited about this because we were preparing this with all the experiments, and we are ready. So with 600 petabytes and more than 1,000 storage nodes waiting for this data.
Thank you very much.
It's odd too that they would talk about the data center in this whole live stream. You think that they would try and abstract that as much as possible and just talk about the actual particle accelerator.
Colleagues from the data center. Maybe there are more questions? Yes?
Neutrino detection.
Will there be any neutrino detections again for you, Jamie?
All right, so yada, yada, yada. They just talk about the accelerator. Very, very suspicious.
Yep. Super strange, man. I don't know. I think we should keep an eye on it. Things with CERN tend to go down the memory hole. So we should definitely keep an eye out.
Yep. What else is on your mind?
I think that's pretty much it, man. I'm still freaked out about the pod show, man.
Yeah, that's a nightmare. Total
It
nightmare.
is a literal. It's almost like a Black Mirror episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Black Mirror is starting to become reality.
Now that you mentioned mirrors, you know those carnival rides when you go in? I hate carnivals, by the way. But you go into carnivals, like the mirror thing where you get lost in the maze, like the mirror maze. That's what it seems like.
Yep, exactly.
You're like running into walls, you're hitting your head, stuff like that.
Yep, exactly. Well, I think probably we should shut it down for the night. Get some rest.
Before we do, we'll have about a minute here if anybody wants to call in quickly. We can talk about any of these subjects. We did have a call in yesterday. Stone Hobbit called in. But yeah, if anyone out there is listening, feel free to call in. Otherwise, do subscribe to the channel, like the video. What do you think we should talk about for the rest of the week here? You think we should continue to monitor what's going on with CERN? What's going on with the economy in general?
CERN is going to get memory hold like faster than the Dobbs decision. So we should probably talk about, monitor the economy. I think that's the next cliff, right? We're going to get some economic data towards the end of the week to indicate whether or not we're in a recession.
They've already told us, they've leaked information about that and said, yes, we're in a recession. But it's when it becomes official, when they actually leak it, the economy the markets will probably go up because it's already priced in.
Dude, there's some interesting stories on the New York Post.
What stories?
Not really. I mean, it's mostly Bobby Chimpo, but no, we can probably call it. I mean, there's not much movement on the message boards. I think the Jannies are way
Janning it up.
Yeah.
Clean it up.
Jamming it up. Yep.
Cover up crew.
Exactly, dude. There's I'll save this for tomorrow, but um, yeah, there's not much going on, not much traffic, man. In general, I mean, I'm starting to get scared that we're seeing things like pod dancing, and it's
Seems
just
to get weirder. Things are getting weirder and weirder and weirder. The other thing I wanted to say about the whole chimp out deal with the Crimo character is there's so much shit going on, and yet all they're talking about is these fucking crazy situations. Like there's 50 dead migrants in Texas. There's the Uvalde shit.
completely
There's
memorable.
January 6th shit. Like, and then all they want to do is talk about the Chumpo Crimeo because they're using it for two purposes. One, obviously, to take care of people's gun rights. So basically, abolish the Second Amendment. And then the other issue is they're trying to use this as a way to censor what people can say. So that's kind of the indirect, implicit thing too, where they're talking about, we need to monitor social media and we need to surveil and make sure that everybody is, not, doing things that we consider to be alarming. So yeah, I mean, why the point here is that they're like promoting these particular things. And by the way, do you know how many shootings there are in Chicago like every weekend? Black people, minorities are shooting each other all the time, and it never makes the news. Barely makes the local news. So yeah, this was a huge event, of course. So it's going to make the news, but still, at the same time, they seem to be like really, really trying to talk, and it gets gruesome too. Like they're showing these injuries on mainstream media. It's like, I don't want to see this shit. Like, and the other thing is like, would you want to go to a parade or any sort of like public celebration at this point, particularly in the Midwest? We had the Wisconsin Christmas parade situation in Waukesha. Now we have this one in Highland Park, Illinois, and they're not that far apart, actually. I think they're like 50 to 70 miles apart. I wouldn't want, that's the other thing in the back of my mind is like, I don't want to go to any public celebration at this point. I know that many, many millions of other Americans are feeling the same way with all of these crazy events going on. And
Yeah, I know.
haven't you like avoided any sort of like public celebration at this point?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I went over to a friend's house tonight and ate dinner, and his son was there, man, and his son was just carrying a freaking gun around. Like people were scared, and you know, I think people in general are just terrified, and
that's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to terrify people of being together, celebrating July 4th.
And what did terrified people do? They start to carry guns and mace and knives and protection, and then at the shortest at the first moment of any sort of altercation, guns start going off, and people start getting injured, and then they say, "Oh, mass," attack this, attack that, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And it gets more dangerous too when you have good people who own firearms and are there to protect other people. It gets more dangerous when you have more and more of these people out in public with those conceal and carry permits, because you never know what's going to happen. I personally don't like to be around guns at all, and I believe the Second Amendment is a solid amendment used to protect American citizens in the event that you have crazy people like Chumpo Crimeo out there, and you have good people who are going to take care of situations like this. But even this situation, you didn't have any conceal and carry permit holders firing back at Crimeo. You didn't have law enforcement taking care of him. And, he was able to escape through whatever deception and disguise he was wearing. So where were the police then? Why didn't they go up to the rooftop? And the other thing is, like, He set up a ladder before this. Kind of reminded me of that Texas. Are you familiar with that? The University of Texas at Austin. He was a former Marine and he had a brain tumor. And he shot like 16 people in like the 70s or 80s. I think it was the 70s. I forget his name. Like Hightower or something. Anyways, but that was like a big deal back in the 70s. And for like 5 to 10 years, everybody was talking about that. He went up to the bell tower, like in the middle of campus, and he had a sniper rifle. But anyways, he had a brain tumor after they, looked at him after he was killed in that situation. But these people don't have brain tumors. That was like an abnormal situation. The people that they're apprehending now are just like fucking crazy people. So you don't have law enforcement adequately responding. Yes, the law enforcement, once they figured out who he was, they caught him. They tracked his vehicle and they got him at that intersection. But, why weren't they there when it was actually happening? Even the Texas situation in the 70s, they were out trying to get him right away. They sent a SWAT team up to the bell tower. They didn't send a SWAT team up to this rooftop. They didn't even know what was going on. Anyways, I'm off on a tangent. It's terrible.
No, man, it's you gotta stay vigilant out there.
Yeah, I would not go to any sort of public situation at this point where there's like more than 10 or 15 people, considering what's going on in the world right now. That's just my personal opinion. It sucks for like families and stuff, but like, why would you even go out to eat at this point at like a busy restaurant? You got to go to like small restaurants, people that you're familiar with, like stuff like that goes through your head when you're out in public. And that's exactly what they're trying to do to people, is to make them fearful to go out and associate.
Oh, exactly. That's exactly it's exactly what's going on, man. Well, gotta be vigilant out there. Can't live in fear, but you gotta be vigilant.
Right. What is the solution then? If you can't live in fear.
Well, you just gotta make yourself aware, man. Knowledge is power. You gotta know what's going on. Know your surroundings, know what's going on around you. So, all right, dude, I think we should shut it down for the night.
Right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you the rest of the week. We'll talk about whatever economic stuff comes up. And please subscribe to the channel and like the video if you can. See ya. Bye. All it's supposed to feel.